G'day, ladies and gentlemen. It's Sunday. First one back for quite some weeks. I hope you got your sipping hats on for a Sunday session, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you what, I may be prone to a few coughs and stuff. The family's working hard to try and make sure I'm sick as a dog for Monday. Very considerate of them. But you know what? I'll persevere and get through. We'll be right. I'll just remind everyone we did a show on Friday with the Living Free guys. They got a festival coming up. I'm going to do my best to make sure I make it down. It's in 2 weeks on the weekend of starting on the Friday the 22nd, 23rd and 24th of this month, so it's only a couple of weeks away. If you are keen to get your tickets, or if you're just interested and want to know a little bit more about it, go back and check out that podcast, livingfreefestival.org, for more information, of course. And you can use the promo code BADDY to get yourself a little bit of a discount on the tickets and whatnot. And guess what? You'll probably get to meet me there too. So if that's not an incentive, I don't know what is. So anyway, we've got, of course, all our wonderful people who have been supporting the show, and I didn't do this on Friday, so I better do it now. Thanks to Brendan, to Vincent, to the anonymous people, of course, who don't wish to be named. Bitcoin Jason, Belinda, Jennifer, Aussie65, Jake Soy, Curly, Terrence, Ruben, Karina, Carla, Mark Howard, Gaza, Lee D, Jeannie Z, and of course one of our newbies, Annie J, for supporting us in various ways, such as, I can't believe I've gone blank. What's the name of that friggin' thing again? I'm out of practice, ladies and gentlemen. I'm out of practice. I'm even forgetting my own stuff. Patreon, on Patreon. So you can always jump on to Patreon, just $10 a month to keep this channel going. It's a wonderful way to help us, because I look forward to the day that this is the only thing I have to do is worry about getting good podcasts out to you guys and informing the general public of all the things we don't normally get to see or hear about. As I was just explaining to our guests who I'm about to bring in, I used to work in the mainstream, and it was disgusting how bad they are at their jobs, and I have to confess, it's not 100% their own fault. It is the nature of the structure of that beast, which we are seeing dying piece by piece. When I first moved up here to Townsville, I got to see the decaying remnants of what was once a bountiful empire, and it has now been driven into dust. As far as I'm concerned, it's only a matter of time until they are nothing more than dinosaurs, which I think is a good thing for humanity, because we should be having longer conversations, not 45 seconds of blah, what the hell was that? What did I just see? They don't explain anything very well at all. Okay, now, before we do go in, I will just quickly have a yarn about some stuff I've seen this week that I think we'll have to bring up in the near future. So I'm going to reach out to Kate Camerons. I reckon she'd be a great yarn for this one. The mysteries of Atlantis deepens as ocean floor discovery hints at ancient catastrophe. So this would be a good one to dive in a little bit. It looks like the old Atlantis story is starting to get a bit of a run, and Graham Hancock sounding less and less like a lunatic. And holy shit, the conspiracy theorists might be right yet again. Of course, we've got scientists suggesting they need to do a better tests to see if the large object heading towards Earth could be an alien spacecraft. It was the UFO festival this weekend, and I didn't realize. So unfortunately, I missed it. But stroke, you guys wouldn't have had podcasts if I had have realized. So even Harvard scientists believe the interstellar comet could be an alien craft. Is it? Who knows? Do you believe in these things? Do you think we're the only thing, the be all and end all in this solar system? Comet 31 Atlas is the name of this thing, and SETI's all over it, because there's a whole bunch of people who are so desperate to find aliens. I'm sure they can come up with any story to sell this one. But we'll look into that stuff a little bit further. I reckon we get onto Kate Camerons at some point to have a yarn about that, because she's the perfect person to have a yarn about those kinds of things, I reckon. So we might do a podcast maybe next week. I'll have a look at the schedule. I've got a few things booked. I can't remember what they are right now. But anyway, without further ado, I'd like to introduce you all to Andrew. How are you, mate?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good, man. Sips, brother.
That's the way. Happy Sunday.
Yes, happy Sunday. Best way to do it was with a drink in your hand. So, my friend, I heard about your stuff from a friend of mine who lobbed up one day and said, "Hey, there's this guy who's getting around. He's doing this rap song. It's all about Townsville. You know, this. I just caught a cab, and this lady was just playing it for me. It's really great. You should suss it out and see if you can get this guy on the podcast." So here we are. Job done, and it's obviously the word's getting around town about your song. Where random people having conversations in taxis about it. So, man. Do you want to give us a little bit of a rundown of who you are, how long you've been doing this, and we might have a look at that song?
Yep. Well, my name's Andrew. I'll go by Lyrical Criminal. I've been in Townsville all my life. I guess I just talk about my life and everything else sort of around what's going on in Townsville and put it into music and get people to hear the nitty gritty and I don't know, I guess the street stuff and be as honest as I can with it. And yeah, I seem to think it's working and people need to sort of understand. Same with the youth crime and all that. There's a lot more that goes in behind all that, so the way they were raised and their situation at home and whatnot. So I just try and incorporate all that and
yeah. So you've been here in Townsville all your life, man, and you were saying earlier, sort of grown up in one of the less palatable sort of areas. I don't know if you want to pinpoint exactly where you are. I'll leave that to your user discretion. But I imagine you've seen a few things in that particular area growing up in that area, and you want to share a couple of stories, maybe.
Yeah, well, I'm from Vincent. I moved from Garbutt when I was 4 into Vincent, which was not much more of a upgrade, but here we are. Seen it all. It's been wild growing up, but it's all come good now. Yeah, there's so many stories I can tell, but it's all through my music, I think. But I've been there for about 28 years. Grew up with a heap of people in Townsville. Like they're all doing their own thing now, and either they're in jail or a lot of them passed away. A few of them have passed away and stuff. So, but yeah, just try and put my life and the story of the streets into music, I guess. What people aren't really sharing and.
Yeah, it's one of those things, when you hear about, the rough things happening from the mainstream media, I find they just sort of glance over it really quickly. They're at the scene of the crime, and that's usually all you really hear of it. They might chase things up with the court case happens, 2-3 years, however long it takes to get that stuff going. And by then, how much involved are we with the story? How close they are? They just report straight out of what they've seen in the courts sort of thing, and they don't really get to see both sides of the story, I guess, because, things aren't always black and white, that's for sure, especially when you're growing up on the streets, eh? So if you want, man, we might jump into this song that has sort of brought my attention to you, and I'd just like to shout out to Arik, who created this. It was another interesting twist of fate to find out that Arik was the man who has done this clip, and a bloke I've shared a few bevies with over the years. So it's just another one of those. Wow, we really do live in a small town, but I think it's just a sign that we're all on the right path, and sooner or later we all cross paths for the right reasons. So let's chuck this track on, man, and see what everyone's got to say.
I said lock your stuff up, cause it's not safe when you're living in Townsville. Gotta love this place, no I won't be silenced, I won't quiet down. Gotta keep this heat lit up in this town. I said lock your stuff up, cause it's not safe when you're living in Townsville. Gotta love this place, no I won't be silenced, I won't quiet down. Gotta keep this heat lit up in this town.
Welcome everybody to the top of the tropics. This towns were mainly only known for chaos and coppers, where the crime rate elevates and I don't think no one can stop it. Shit, your house ain't even safe, it doesn't matter if you lock it. I'll just talk about the suburbs that are always getting mentioned. We got Vincent, Garber, so many more. I haven't said you're living here long enough, you get the message that I'm sending. If you see the towns what's on, you probably lost any direction. Let me spit it a little, condition people are living and see we're all just really victims, live imprisoned in systems. Now these kids are built different, witnessing, drinking and hitting. Maybe they need to be heard and not seen from a distance. See this generation change, you probably do this just for fun instead of going back to broken homes and staying on the run. Lock your stuff up, you are stupid. If you don't, then you are dumb. Towns on top of the tropics and crime is nowhere close to done.
I said lock your stuff up, cause it's not safe when you're living in Townsville. Gotta love this place, no I won't be silenced, I won't quiet down. Gotta keep this heat lit up in this town. I said lock your stuff up, cause it's not safe when you're living in Townsville. Gotta love this place, no I won't be silenced, I won't quiet down. Gotta keep this heat lit up in this town.
Well, I haven't begun to hit the tip of the iceberg. We're in an epidemic, methods making their lives worse. I know about you, but I'm just thinking this town's cursed. See, many friends are buried in coffins, and trust me, it hurts. Fuck what you heard in time, this town is going under. We got hundreds of criminals making coppers look dumber. What a mess it is, you reckon? Scratch your head and make you wonder. Let me welcome you to towns, we'll never come up here in summer. It gets better, believe me, it's better when you were leaving, instead of being working every day and hearing sirens screaming. If it isn't the sirens, you're getting woken up by violence. Stolen cars running riot on the sides and set on fire. They're hitting all these businesses and smashing people's windows. And believe me when I tell you, I don't really think they give a shit. I'm nearly almost finished and I really hope you're listening. But one more thing to say, I highly recommend not visiting.
I said lock your stuff up, cause it's not safe when you're living in Townsville. Gotta love this place, no I won't be silenced, I won't quiet down. Gotta keep this heat lit up in this town. I said lock your stuff up, cause it's not safe when you're living in Townsville. Gotta love this place, no I won't be silenced, I won't quiet down. Gotta keep this heat lit up in this town.
Nice. Awesome track, man. I love it. And, you know, I can't wait to see. Will you reckon Tal's going to approach you and say, hey, man, can we use that to help promote Townsville?
I hope so. Yeah.
Well, I mean, our council's such a piss wreck anyway, man. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, you could only help their cause, you know.
Townsville's new theme song, eh? Welcome.
Exactly. That's it, man. That's it. So, what was that moment? You know, when you brainstormed this idea, going, hang on, this is what I'm going to do. What was it that made you go, I need to write this track?
I think it was more like getting other people too to understand there's more behind like the youth crime and that. Growing up was a bit rough for myself, and like no one understood what was going on at home, sort of thing. Like it's you know, with parents drinking and stuff like that, it's I guess more comfortable being institutionalized than being somewhere where you're subjected, you know, like exposed to alcohol and violence. In there's peace, but I think a lot of people need to understand too that maybe there's a reason for what they're doing. I know it's disgusting what they're doing. There's no, but the life in there is probably better than the life they got at home. So I thought maybe just trying to explain a bit of that about the crime, about, you know, they're doing crime to obviously be locked up and have 3 meals a day, and, you know, and not exposed to violence all the time and drinking and all that sort of stuff. So I think it was just trying to let people understand a little bit more.
Yeah, I remember when I was working with the news, we did a police ride along. You know, we started off at one of the stations and went for a drive around. And the first thing they do after 7 o'clock is go around and check to make sure everybody who's got bail conditions set where they're supposed to be. You know,
curfew checks.
Yeah, that's it. Curfew checks. Once they've figured out who's not where they should be, they know who they're looking for, sort of thing. Yeah. And it was interesting because I'm getting it from the copper's point of view, obviously, and they're saying, look, you know, in some places what the judges ordered works, because they've got a family member who gives a shit and makes sure that they are where they need to be. And we lobbed up to a couple of those places first. And like, look, we're pretty sure the old mate's going to be here. His family's giving a shit and putting him on the right path. There's probably hope for this kid, you know. It's like, cool. And then we go to one of these other joints, and there's kids running amok all over the joint, you know, speakers blaring, party is happening. It's Wednesday, you know, night sort of thing. And old mate Lob asks him, where's so-and-so? Oh, no, he took off a few hours ago. Don't know where he is. Like, you know, don't really give a shit sort of thing, you know. And you can see that's that kind of household you're talking about there.
Yep.
So
I just want to shout out to Street University too in Townsville here. They're doing a lot of good things with the youth. Shout out to them. Street University, yeah.
What are they doing there, mate?
I think they're doing a lot of, it's like a youth organization, I guess. So like all the youth go there and they do music, they do sports, and I think it's just a safe place for them to go. And yeah, I haven't been there, but I know the lad who runs it and stuff like that. And he wanted me to come in and, you know, have a chat and see what it's all about and stuff like that. I just haven't had the chance to do it yet, but I would really like to do that and see where that goes. But yeah, it's a lot of youth work, I guess.
Sounds like a good idea, man. If you want to go in and have a look and get a feel for it, and maybe I can come along with you. Maybe not on the first day, but you know, once you've sort of got a bit of a feel for how things work and what's going on, and we can do a little bit of a short doco on it or something. You know, maybe we could even get Arik involved in it. You know, it's easier if we got, you know, someone else holding the camera, so I don't have to fucking, you know, treat it like it's Win News and do everything myself, and then the reporter pretends like they did some work. So for those who are interested, you've got an Instagram channel up at the moment. I'll just, where is that screen? That one? No, not that one. That one. All right. So we've got your Instagram channel for those who want to jump on and follow the Lyrical Criminal here. So it's just Instagram.com/lyrical_criminal_. And you've also got your YouTube channel. If you really enjoyed that song Townsville, you can jump on and at youtube.com /@lyrical_criminal_TSV. You know, obviously a few other tracks and whatnot there. And, you know, if you one listen wasn't enough, we might play it again towards the end. Why not? Because I reckon it's a pretty good track. You can always jump on and have a listen to that one, share it around with all your mates and whatnot. Have you got anything else coming up in the near future, buddy?
Yeah, I've had a bit of a break with my music, just working and everything, but I've had a bit of a break just to get my head together and everything with everything that's going on. But yeah, I do. I've got quite a few tracks coming. I've just finished one last night, and that's come together pretty good. So in the next couple of weeks, there'll be some new music. Again, it's about, I guess, yeah, same sort of stuff. Townsville, like the streets, and it's just all incorporated with my life and stuff that goes on in this town that no one's really bringing up, I guess.
Have you got like an album underway or anything like that? Or
yeah,
do people do that?
I mean, ages ago when I first started. Yeah, when I first started, I had pretty shit equipment, so it didn't sound the best. I had a heap of songs, like 10 songs. I've done 2 albums. So I've done one album with 10 songs, another album with 9 songs. Yeah, and I think I've done another album with another 9 songs. So I've got 3 albums there, but it was older stuff. So I got myself a new setup, new computer, new sound and all that. It's really brought it to life. So
yeah, nice. So you're producing all this yourself straight at home, you know, you're not taking it to the studio or anything?
No, I've got a home studio set up at home, recording booth and everything. I get most of my beats from YouTube producers and stuff like that. So I just go on BeatStars and they send me notifications and stuff like that. So
just download a couple of sort of basic sounds and just go over the top sort of thing.
Yeah, and start writing, and then I could hear something else that sort of those lyrics match that beat, and it works better with that. You know, that could be just a starting point of hearing something and then writing a couple of words, and then leave it, and then hear something else, and then it just comes together like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always been a music first kind of a person myself, just but it's almost like a meditative process. I found, you just sort of find your sound. Oh yeah, I like that sound. Right, cool. What's this sound saying to me? And then go with it.
Yep.
So what are you using, like Cubase? What are you running?
No, I'm still running GarageBand.
GarageBand. I'm not familiar with that one.
It's the only thing I've got familiar with. I've tried other ones, but I just can't work for the life of me. So familiar.
It's not easy.
No.
It's like, I think messing around with video and audio, I think audio is one of the far more complicated things to try and put down, because I think as humans we're very visual based. We don't really focus too much on what we're hearing until there's a cool, catchy tune. Or there's the sound of gunshots and it's time to run. So there's key sounds we focus in on still. We're not in that hunter gatherer mode, I guess, anymore. Where we're really alert and really listening into things. I found my time in the studio certainly taught me to hone my ear to hear things that you wouldn't normally have looked for.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it's a very complicated beast. We might have to catch up at some stage. I'll show you the shit that I'm running. Like I've got I'm running Cubase, and I've just bought, thanks to the help of all our subscribers and whatnot here, Native Instruments pack. Which is you can pull in samples and sounds for just about anything you want, man. Strings, everything, and build everything.
There's another one if you ever do want to come across it. It's called Lander, and there's over like 1 million samples. LANDR. There's so many samples and beat packs, and you pay a monthly subscription again, and like there's just and they get updates regularly.
To LANDR?
Yeah, Lander, yeah.
Yep. Cool. I'll have a look.
Yeah.
Might be some interesting stuff in there for sure, but yeah, having access to those kind of sounds and good shit is always handy. So like, I mean, the intro that we played here, I've created that all here with Cubase and the Native Instruments pack. It's one of those things. I just like you said, you just what's the first sound? Oh, I like that one. Oh, that'll work with that. That'll work with that. And next thing you know, it's just all coming together. I felt possessed. So
you're in your zone. Yeah.
That's it, man. That's it. So do you get around and perform live in Townsville anywhere? Or?
I've been going to the Otherwise bar in town. They do open mic nights and everything.
Okay.
I haven't really been doing it because of work and everything, because it's on a Tuesday night and it gets a bit late and rah. But yeah, not really too many performances and stuff like that. I'd like to get more stage presence and stuff, but I'm not big on trying to perform and all that stuff. I think I'm just trying to get my music heard. Not be, a big superstar or anything. Just explain what's going on. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, just you got to start somewhere, I mean, I don't know. I haven't really gone out and performed live for a long fucking time, but I know even in fucking Melbourne, it was getting bloody hard to try and encourage people to come out. And I can't imagine it's any easier these days with the cost of living. Compliments of a wonderful government that cares so much about us. How can people afford to go out and do things? So I think we've kind of been forced into this internet zone, doing things like this, podcasts and, just getting stuff out there and hoping it sort of takes off. Because like you said, when you're trying to be responsible, Tuesday night, Struth, I've got to go to work. Fuck, $15 for a bloody beer. Struth, I brew my own and it cost me like $60 to do 2.5 cartons. Why would I want to go and spend $15 on a beer? It's not economically viable. So yeah, have you done any work with anyone else around town?
Yeah, there's Peak Productions. They're 2 lads from Townsville. His name's Bugsy and Luther. They're also killing it in Townsville. They've brought together a lot of Townsville artists. I didn't realize there was so much talent in Townsville, and people making music. But yeah, shout out to them as well. I've done a couple of tracks with them. I've done a couple of challenges or something with them. I've done a track with a Canadian lad, a couple of collabs and stuff like that. But
yeah, nice. Well, if you get around town and you find other people who are keen to get their tunes out, by all means, pass on my details. One of the things I always envisioned, was doing more music stuff and supporting, local artists, because that's one thing the mainstream does not do. Unless you're fucking John Farnham and already selling millions of fucking tickets, the lamestream don't seem too interested in helping people get there. They're only interested in you once you've gotten there.
That's right.
So,
yeah.
It's very disheartening, And I remember when I was first in Win TV, I was asking, I'm like, why don't we cover more of the local artistry? Like I watch you guys go through Facebook every morning, desperate for a story. Surely there's a local artist somewhere that'd be keen to have a yarn. Oh, well, they don't really operate during business hours. It's like, well, none of these fucking sports on the bloody weekend operate during business hours, but you're out there. So you got me standing in the sun with a camera, watching, a couple of blokes play cricket to an audience of 5. That's important, but you can't get out and support some of the local musos. Rightio. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, well, funny you say that, because when I was shooting that music video at the courthouse, someone from the Bulletin come over and they said what it's all, they asked me what it's all about and everything, and I had a chat to them, and I said it's basically about Townsville, and my music is about the youth crime and everything. So they brought me into the building, and that's the last I heard. I don't know if they wanted to bring that to life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was, yeah.
It sounds like the Townsville Bulletin. They're not exactly the most proficient. So I mean, I don't know if you've seen the controversy with Troy Thompson, our lovely mayor. I actually had him on here talking originally, and all the controversy about Troy Thompson started here on this podcast.
Yeah, right.
So the mainstream media may be looking at this now going, oh, shit, maybe we should have spoken to this guy. Bad, he's done it again. He's beaten us to it. You might get a phone call next week. You never know, man. So, but yeah, they've conjured up some wonderful stories. I had an Indigenous fella come on at one stage, man. And, we were talking about Troy and all the shit that's going on political wise. And next thing I know, the Townsville Bulletin's written this story that Troy Thompson's fucking, the Indigenous fella, because we hid his identity and called him Blackboard. So they decided it was the mayor had come in and done a secret story on it. And Channel 10 even called me up and asked me, and I just laughed in their face, told him how bad he was at his job. And he used that as evidence for why. Right. Actually, I'll show it to you. You got to see this. I've got a little snippet here. Here we go. Here's the dropkick himself.
But Troy Thompson has plenty of support, including those from the fringe online platform called the North Queensland Freedom Network. Its podcast host has denied any suggestions that a special guest with his face and voice disguised under the name Blackboard was in fact Troy Thompson when we made this phone call last week. We're trying to confirm if Blackboard, the guest on Friday's episode, was that Troy Thompson?
You guys are so bad at your jobs.
He hung up. Accusing 10 News First of...
Not only did he play that clip once, but he played it twice, like that, because that was the response after I've gone in and taken their pants down and gone, you guys are fucking idiots. It's clearly an Indigenous fella. I've had this guy on the podcast before. I told you to do your research, dumbass. Why didn't you listen? So rather than, do some research, because they rush their way through everything. That's why it's like a high school fucking student's, shitty homework that he rushed through the night before, and rather than actually go and go through the rest of the podcast and go, has Blackboard, appeared? I've gone, look, here he is. Here's the date and the time. Already had him here with an Indigenous fucking theme and all the rest. You guys are idiots. So that was his response. To come back and say, oh, he's denied everything. And then they play that clip again. I was like, my God, as if your stupid, half-baked evidence wasn't bad enough the first time you played it again.
I just laughed in their face and hung up.
Oh, I couldn't help it. Like I was shocked. Like, you know, when Channel 10 called me originally, I'm like, okay, so what do you fuckers want? You know? And to start with, he actually asked if I was from the North Queensland Tourist Network. I'm like, I don't know anything about no tourist network, man. What are you on about? I've never been a part of anything called the Tourist Network. Hint, 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 wink, wink. You got the wrong name. Would you like to say the right one? You know, but oh, Stu, they've got your name down here as part of the Tourist Network. I'm like, fuck, you guys are bad at your jobs. Anyway, I'm like, so what are you on about, man? Why are you what are you after? What's this about? And that's when he's gone. Well, we're just trying to determine is Troy Thompson the guy on this podcast? That's where I just laughed. I'm like, how else do I just? I did not see it coming. Of all the dumb things I thought they might ask me, that was not it. Yeah, I was blown away. They are real bad at their jobs. So, Townsville Bulletin. I don't know if you want them to do an article on you.
No,
man.
I don't think so. I've heard they just spin it to how they want it.
Yep.
I'm sort of glad I didn't, because I posted something on Facebook and, you know, shout out to Townsville Bulletin and all that. But I was getting a lot of messages saying, be careful with them, because if you go and spill your guts and they'll just turn it the way they want to let people hear it, sort of thing, or see it.
Yeah, they've usually got a preconceived idea of what the story's going to be before they go into it, you know. At least, you know, a good reporter generally would, but that's again, I don't know if I would call them a good reporter. That's just generally the way they're perceived in the industry, is to have an idea of where you're going and what you're doing. Whereas, you know, much like I was saying to you earlier, man, I don't really have a script here. We're going to make this up as we go along. It's going to be two blokes having a yarn like we are at the pub, the way, you know, things should be done. Not, hey, I've got a preconceived idea of who this person is, and then I'm going to try and pull strings and bait and, you know, get you to say something to make you look stupid, or get you to go in a specific direction I want you to, you know, because you're not telling the truth, then you're guiding the conversation, you know. So, yeah. No, all good, man. All good. Where do we want to go from here, man? Well, I started with aliens and shit. What do you think of aliens and stuff, man? We're going completely off the rails here.
They're out there, eh? They're there. They're coming. Where they're coming? Hey, like fucking
a bit disappointed they haven't
all that shit. You can't make movies off. You know what I mean? They're coming.
Well, I always looked at it
with alfoil hats and shit too, getting around.
they were all down in Cardwell today. Yesterday. Yeah, the UFO festival. I don't know if you've ever been to Cardwell for the UFO festival.
Nah, not for the UFO fest. No.
No, you should get up there one year. I've been meaning to get back there, but every year something seems to happen. And this year they cancelled it and said we're delayed till further notice. And by the time we found out about it, which was yesterday, it was already halfway in. You know, so it's a 3-day event. It's pretty funny, and it's pretty cheesy. People literally getting around in alfoil hats and. You know, some pretty funny stuff, but you know, they get artists to perform their music and all that sort of stuff, so it's probably not a bad place to even get a gig or something at some point. But yeah, no, I totally reckon there's got to be something better than mankind out here. Ever since I watched Planet of the Apes, I had to agree with Charlton Heston, and there's got to be something better than man. So yeah, I'm curious to see how it all goes. It looks more and more like they want to start to admit that there is something. You know, I think there's only so far the governments can lie to us about there being nothing out there, and they seem to be gearing up towards that. So we'll see what comes of it. Will they ever tell us the truth? I fucking doubt it, because we're about you know, career liars here. So I think they'll tell us enough truth to be able to go, well, at least we can cover our traces in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But no, like last time I was at the UFO festival, it was worth it to sit back and watch some of the bands and shit, you know, keeping it in that musical vibe. It's it was a good day out until my son Tyler slipped over and smashed his knee and made me look like a complete fuckwit in front of an ambo. Like it was just raining and whatnot, and he's managed to find the right angle to slip over on this non-slip surface, smashed it inside of his knee, and I'm like, can you straighten your knee, man? Can you straighten your knee? He's like, no, I can't do it, Dad, I can't do it. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to find an ambo. I'm walking around, I can't find anyone. I found the one copper that was there. They were really about crime, obviously, and hey man, do you have know of an ambo around? I'm actually just talking to one who's off duty at the moment. Maybe they can help you. I'm like, all right, cool. And the ambo goes to my son, straighten your leg straight out. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Thanks, man. You just made me look like a complete fucking idiot. Now I've got to stand there and get treated like a moron by this woman explaining basic medical stuff to me. I'm like, oh fuck, thanks, son. Yeah. So, you were saying you just been putting some stuff together. When's the next release, you reckon?
Hopefully by the end of this month or the start of next month. I was aiming for the 13th of this month, but I've got to get some artwork done up for the cover and all that stuff. So I'm aiming for end of this month or the start of next month.
Oh, yeah. Have you got someone that you usually go to see to get artwork done, or do you knock it up yourself? Or?
Yeah, there's a lad in Brisbane, Tomahawk Designs. He does pretty nice artwork. Yeah, was flicking some photos. He just does his AI or whatever he does, AI or whatever.
Photoshopping.
Yeah, and it's unreal. Some of the stuff he can put together is pretty cool.
Yeah, nice. Awesome, man. So, you were saying it's just kind of the stuff that's going on in life at the moment. What kind of stuff has been going on that is inspired?
Sorry, them dogs were going off. I missed that. What was that?
Yeah, all right. I was just saying, what has been inspiring this latest lot of tracks you've got going, brother?
Well, I've got a couple of songs in relation to, because I've been fighting the court system for my children, and I've got a couple of songs around that. I'd like to speak more on that as well, if we ever go ahead with this. Yeah, it's so much I can explain on that with, but yeah, a lot of, I guess, yeah. The inspirations comes from that, I reckon, is the courts and all that sort of stuff, not being heard and can't say what you need in person, so I do it through music. Not being listened to, I guess that's my biggest inspiration. That inspires me to get it heard because people listen to music, so I just thought that's another way around it.
It's a pretty big issue, and I've seen a couple of mates sort of go through this shit in the past too, with the kids' rights and all that stuff, and getting rights to see them and shit. And it's just the system really is geared for one side, eh? Like I've seen some blokes who have actually, a couple of mates actually successfully got custody of their children, but it took years.
Yeah, I'm going on 10 now. 10 years. I had final court orders and everything. I've got documents coming from Child Safety saying all harm has been caused by the mother, and it just goes on. But I'm at a bloody dead end at the moment. But it's got to keep chipping away, I guess.
Away. Yeah, definitely. No, it's harsh shit. I mean, especially you got documents saying that the mother's causing harm, because that was kind of the key elements that sort of got some of these friends of mine through, and they finally successfully done it. They had to go through everything, piss tests all the bloody time because the mother's throwing out absolute lies and wild accusations. They're not held to account in any way, shape, or form for the lies that they tell, which is fucking ridiculous. Like, I mean, you're wasting time, money, police resources, court resources, and they're not held accountable for that. That's wrong in itself. I mean, you know, I get it. There's some women out there that, you know, are on the other side of the fence and they've been completely abused and whatnot, and you want to lend some support, but the system needs to be evenly supportive of both sides, and I can't help but feel that it's not. And you know, I believe that there's a whole bunch of stuff that's offered for the females, you know, like, you know, you job him in and say this and say that. There's, you know, money that they offer you, you know, accommodation, all that sort of stuff to get them out. You've got a problem. All they've got for us blokes is, oh, here's some anger management.
Yeah.
That's it.
Here's some medication if you need it.
Yeah. We'll keep you stoned and fucking in anger management. It's the only thing they can do, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, it's wrong. The system is really wrong.
Yeah, I can go on for ages about that stuff. Yeah. So yeah, long story short, I had 2 unreleased songs that I shared on my Instagram story, and I went back to court for a trial to get getting her breach for withholding, and she you know, says she monitors my social media and all that, but it's pathetic. It's pathetic.
Yeah, I guess you better be careful what you say then.
Yeah, well, they used my lyrics in that trial, which I found very bizarre, because even the solicitor said, like, they should not get you on your music. Yeah. Anyway, that was that. But
well, it's art, you know. I mean, I've never seen Snoop Dogg or Ice Cube arrested, you know, because of what they said on an album and calling that evidence. It's circumstantial at best.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
So we might leave that topic alone then, because this podcast is actually being dragged into the courtroom for a few different things. You know, there's another lady who comes on, Heidi, who's pretty cluey at self-defense in the court system, and the courts and the coppers and the lawyers hate her that much for being so good at figuring everything out, that they're basically trying to accuse her of giving out legal advice. And because we were on this podcast talking about elements of law and whatnot, they've grabbed that and gone, look, here she is, you know, giving out legal advice. It's like, well, at the beginning of the podcast, it openly states none of this should be taken as gospel truth, and it's for entertainment purposes only. So, you know, again, I don't see how they can friggin' do that, you know, bringing it in as evidence that she's giving out legal advice when we're just talking about the law. It is an available subject for anybody to go and have a look at and have a yarn about. So that'll be an interesting one, because I believe I'll have to go and give evidence myself. But I will thoroughly enjoy my time in court, because I always have had a good time there, because you just got to know how they think and turn it around on them. So, well, is there anything you'd like to share about the lyrical criminal side of music here? It won't get you in more trouble?
Not really. I've just a lot more music coming out, a lot more like videos and stuff like that. I guess more about everything, like in Townsville. I haven't heard it before. I don't know if you guys have heard of an artist back in the day. His name was Butter.
No.
Yeah, Butter. He's now a teacher now, and he sings. He's got a song about Townsville as well. Tour of My City, it's called. But yeah, he I've been chatting with him and probably do a track with him or something maybe. Yeah.
No worries. I'll have to have a look into it, man. So what was it like putting that film clip together with Arik, man? Like, I've sat down and had a few drinks with him, but I haven't actually worked with him on a project. So
yeah, no, it was fun. It was good. We just muck around, have a drink, shoot it, and see how we go. It all seems to work. No, it's good to work.
One day shoot.
Over a period like 6 months, I think we're working on it.
Okay, so just sort of, we need a little bit of this, and just sort of make it up as you go along, sort of thing.
Yeah, and then with work and his work and all that sort of stuff, we just sort of made time wherever, and then just blended it all in.
Mm-hmm. Do you sit in for the editing process, or did he sort of do most of that on his own?
No, he can do that. He can hurt his head doing that.
Fair enough. So I like the Grand Theft Auto vibe. You a bit of a fan of the game?
No, Arik reckons that it suited it well. He just come up with the idea, and I liked it, and it worked.
Yeah, it certainly works here. Seeing stealing cars is one of the predominant criminal elements. So Grand Theft Auto. It just I agree. That was brilliant thought there to do the Grand Theft Auto things. I'm like, fuck, that sits so well. So yeah, it's a nice little clip. We might play it again before we take this one out, if that's all right with you. And then if anything, while we're watching this, if anything pops up you want to sort of expand upon, we'll go from there.
Lovely.
I said lock your stuff up cause it's not safe when you're living in Townsville. Gotta love this place. No, I won't be silenced, I won't quiet down. Gotta keep this heat lit up in this town. I said lock your stuff up cause it's not safe when you're living in Townsville. Gotta love this place. No, I won't be silenced, I won't quiet down. Gotta keep this heat lit up in this town.
Welcome everybody to the top of the tropics. This towns are mainly only known for chaos and coppers, where the crime rate elevates and I don't think no one can stop it. Shit, your house ain't even safe, it doesn't matter if you lock it. I'll just talk about the suburbs that are always getting mentioned. We got Vincent, Garber, so many more. I haven't said you're living here long enough, you get the message that I'm sending. If you see the towns or sign, you probably lost any direction. Let me spit it a little, condition people are living and see we're all just really victims, live imprisoned in systems. Now these kids are built different, witnessing, drinking and hitting. Maybe they need to be heard and not just seen from a distance. See this generation change, you probably do this just for fun instead of going back to broken homes and staying on the run. Lock your stuff up, you are stupid. If you don't, then you are dumb. Towns are top of the tropics and crime is nowhere close to done.
I said lock your stuff up cause it's not safe when you're living in Townsville. Gotta love this place. No, I won't be silenced, I won't quiet down. Gotta keep this heat lit up in this town. I said lock your stuff up cause it's not safe when you're living in Townsville. Gotta love this place. No, I won't be silenced, I won't quiet down. Gotta keep this heat lit up in this town.
Well, I haven't begun to hit the tip of the iceberg. We're in an epidemic, methods making their lives worse. I know about you, but I'm just thinking this town's cursed. See, many friends are buried in coffins, and trust me, it hurts. Fuck what you heard in time, this town is going under. We got hundreds of criminals making coppers look dumber. What a mess it is, you reckon, scratch your head and make you wonder. Let me welcome you to towns, we'll never come up here in summer. It gets better, believe me, it's better when you were leaving, instead of being working every day and hearing sirens screaming. If it isn't the sirens, you're getting woken up by violence. Stolen cars running riot on the sides and setting fire. They're hitting all these businesses and smashing people's windows. And believe me when I tell you, I don't really think they give a shit. I'm nearly almost finished and I really hope you're listening. But one more thing to say, I highly recommend not visiting.
I said lock your stuff up cause it's not safe when you're living in Townsville. Gotta love this place. No, I won't be silenced, I won't quiet down. Gotta keep this heat lit up in this town. I said lock your stuff up cause it's not safe when you're living in Townsville. Gotta love this place. No, I won't be silenced, I won't quiet down. Gotta keep this heat lit up in this town.
There you go. Townsville by Lyrical Criminal. For those of you who have tuned in now and missed it the first time, it's probably a good idea that you get a bit of context to what we're discussing here today. So anything there sort of come to mind that you wanted to have a quick yarn about?
Me? No, not really. I just keep an ear out and eye out for some new music, and yeah, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing, and thanks for this opportunity.
Yeah, not a worry, man. I just listened to some of the bits there and thought, we're standing out front of Cleveland there and talking about being imprisoned and whatnot. And, earlier you were saying that, a lot of the, more regular criminals here in town sort of consider it like a second home and probably better than the one they come from. Definitely. But, I guess coming from a not so fucked up background, I always felt society itself was a bit of a fucking prison, and, much like, you can't, like for instance, the idea that it's illegal to drive in this country unless you've been authorized. Like, when you think about it, like, unless you've got a license and you've paid your rego, unless you've paid all your fees and taxes, it's actually illegal to drive.
Yeah, and you've got that little piece of plastic.
Yeah, exactly. It's okay to work so long as you give a portion of your earnings to the government. You know, it's okay to buy stuff so long as every time you buy something, you give a portion to the government. You know, it's hard to feel like we're free in a society such as this, you know. And, you know, like yourself, you're going through 10 years of bullshit for your kids, you know, but if you get done speeding, we can resolve that in a couple of weeks. That's all right.
Yeah. We'll just money.
Yeah. And any wonder crime's running rampant, you know, like, and how dissatisfying must it be to be a copper? To, you know, the only way you can get a satisfactory result is to pull someone over and find them and know that they're going to be rather than, you know, you go and catch a real criminal and know that they're going to worm their way out of it and be out in the street the next day. Like,
that's what I always thought it was, to serve and protect.
Yeah.
They're not doing nothing. They're just, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Protect. They I don't know. Each have their own little idea of their job, I guess.
Yeah. Well, what have you had any run-ins with the local constabulary?
Yeah, well, long story short, I was in and out of Cleveland Youth Detention Center since I was 12, 13. That's where a lot of all this stories come from, you know, like all my background and everything. And then everything changed the minute I had I found out I was having a baby. So my life changed, that I knew I had something to live for. So, yeah, I've been locked up for most of my childhood and a little bit of my adolescence. So, yeah. I think that's where all this originates from, and actually let people understand and hear what's going on, sort of thing, I guess. I don't know, yeah.
Would you care to enlighten us as to sort of what you got locked up for and perhaps what was going on that sort of drove you to that?
Yeah, well, a lot of it was just like, could be public nuisance, or, you know, and then just be going out getting drunk and then causing havoc, you know, like you get done for public nuisance because you're drinking, and then you get done for resisting arrest, and then you get done, you know what I mean?
They stack the charges.
Yeah. And then next thing you know, you're inside for a couple of months. You're like, what? All I was doing is, drinking, and now I've got like 6-7 different charges. But never, I never stolen cars and none of that shit. Like, it was just mainly stupid shit around drinking and fighting and stuff like that. But yeah, a lot of nights in town too didn't go down well.
Yeah, it's easy to have things lose control after a few drinks. You know, yeah, I've always managed to keep myself on this side of the jail cell, thankfully. But yeah, I didn't grow up in Townsville though, so I come here afterwards. And at first glance, the place looks all right, but you know, there's definitely a dark side once the sun goes down, and you know, rolling around that Garbutt area and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, was there any motivating factors to that really sort of, like, you weren't going out of your way to get arrested? I'm guessing, like, you know, you're kind of saying earlier, for some people, at least you get get 3 meals a day and whatnot. Was it like that for you yourself? Or
it was, yeah. Because a lot of drinking growing up, you know, in the household. So I thought being with other friends and stuff like that, where they had sort of stability, I'd go away, you know, for a week or so. Mum didn't even know where I was, you know. So, and then next minute she'd be getting a phone call that I'm in there, and I was happy. For, you know, as much as that sounds sad, but it was a break, I guess. And then I was doing all my schooling in there. I was doing all my artwork. I was learning about music. There's a few, I think it's Yowie or Justin. He's a drummer. He used to be a drummer in there. So did a bit of music, done all my schooling through there. Yeah.
They call it a correctional facility. Would you say that was an accurate term?
No, I reckon it's just a gathering point to meet more people and get your skills honed down, eh?
Righto. Make sure you don't get caught next time.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think they think they're doing their best, but obviously something's not working. Something's broken. The system's broken. That's all I can say.
Yeah. I was talking to a fella a while back who used to be a screw in the Cleveland Center, and he was saying, it was better back in the day because they could at least interact with the kids a bit. If the kids got out of line, you can sort of grab them and sort of put them aside and go, right, what's going on now?
Yeah.
But nowadays, everything's so tied down that they can't do anything. The kids are basically running the show.
Yeah.
And it really is just a hooligan's holiday.
Yep. The moment you speak to someone, like they get disrespectfully, there's unreal.
Do you have much contact with anybody who's still going sort of in and out of those sort of places? I mean, obviously time's gone on, you've grown up, you've got a job and shit now, and
yeah, well, a lot of people I see there, I haven't really seen a lot of them. I think they're all still locked up, and most of them, a few of them, sorry, not most of them, have passed away, and they're still doing the same old shit. So I try to just stay in my own lane and do what I got to do. I've got 2 kids actually that I'm fighting for, but that's another story too. But I try and stay away from that. So I'm not. There's a saying: you are a percentage of your hang around. Or, you know what I mean? That saying.
Yeah.
You become part of.
Yeah, what you eat.
Yeah, that's right. And I sort of try and distance myself from that because I don't need to go back down that path. I don't need to. So they're doing their thing, and I try and reach out maybe, but I don't really see them. And if I do, I think they appreciate the way my life's going, so they don't want to interact too much because they know if they do, I could be dragged there. So I appreciate that about them.
Yeah.
So that's good, yeah.
A bit of respect, knowing, So, do you think perhaps they feel a bit trapped in that society, in that world themselves, and that what you're doing is inspiring them to perhaps get out of it?
I think so, yeah, because they do say you're doing so well and everything. I said, yeah, well, finally why do we need to repeat the same cycle that we were brought through? You know what I mean? It's up to us now to change as parents, as people, break that cycle and do something different, I guess. But each to their own. Whatever they're doing, they're still doing. They seem to think that's good, but no.
Yeah, you definitely got to break the chains, and I think it sounds like you're on the right path and doing the best you can to sort of get your shit together. You're certainly not going to gain custody of them kids fucking running amok in town and carrying on like an idiot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a hard one. I noticed in that clip, man, there was a car wreck there, man. And did you guys chuck a smoke machine in that? Or was
yeah.
Still
I've done some Google homework, and there's you can mix this powdery stuff like what was it called? Anyway, I had to show a license and everything for this thing. I had a government car pull up. Like it's a substance you can make bombs with.
Oh, right.
So I've mixed it with caster sugar or something like that, and them two chemicals together caused the smoke. And it was just out of a toilet roll, and I packed it halfway, and then I cut it, and then just put it on the side, because we used to use ping pong balls with alfoil, but that doesn't work anymore for some reason.
Really?
Yeah,
I remember doing that too.
Yeah.
And the sparklers in a glass Coke bottle.
Oh fuck! Doesn't that explode?
You went out with a bang out of that, eh?
Yep. But so that was just a bit of powder. I don't know what it's called. I've got to get it again and see what it's called. But apparently you can make bombs and stuff out of it, because it kills stumps and all this kind of stuff.
Rightio. Yeah, I've learned a few things, you know, being a truck driver, you know, and we deliver some chemicals and whatnot. And I won't say what it was exactly because, you know, I don't want to start telling people how to make it. But you know, I was told, you know, at this one particular drop off, you guys really shouldn't have those two next to each other. There's no law saying that you shouldn't, but if you mix this and this together, yeah, people die. Let's just put it that way. I'm like, okay, cool. You know, I don't want to say exactly what it is because, yeah, it's astoundingly easy to make. You know, it's really easy, and you can do it with, you know, most household products. So yeah, I'm like, all right, cool. I'll bear that in mind. We won't have those pellets together on the truck, you know, because yeah, it's a amazing. You know, just putting two things together and off you go. So obviously, there's reasons we don't tell people that, but I think in some shops where they sell these things and people might store them at home together, they probably shouldn't. You know, I'll have to check on whether it's a good idea to mention it or not on the podcast. But yeah, it's dangerous stuff, that's for sure. So yeah, you were saying a government car pulled up while you were doing that?
Yeah, so a strange car with all blacked out windows and that, because I got this big bag. I think it was 5 kilos or 10 kilos of this
substance.
Yeah, I can't even remember what it was called. But it was like parked on the wrong side of the road, which was weird. But on the same side as my house, but the back windows facing towards my house. It's weird. It sat there.
So they locked up to your house because you
like a couple of houses up, because it had my address and everything on my license. So they pulled up and waited hours and hours, and then nothing happened, obviously. But yeah, and then they just took off. Found that a bit weird.
Yeah. Must have thought maybe you know, it's going back to your juvenile delinquent ways, and perhaps we're going to do something dodgy with stuff.
Yeah.
So there was one line in there I noticed, you know, fucking making coppers look dumber and dumber. What was the inspiration behind that one? Like,
I think, well, they can't keep up. I know it's a lot of work, for the Queensland Police, but they're making them look stupid. They can't do nothing about the youth crime. That there's literally kids in stolen cars chasing police in their cars.
Yeah.
Come on, like, far out. Making them look so dumb that they can't do nothing about it. You know what I mean? That's where that come from, making them dumber and dumber. Yeah. Just doing whatever the fuck they want.
And it's legislation that's done that. That's the government that's going, you can't chase these people. It's dangerous and all this sort of shit. So remember there was this one instance, I think it was Win TV. Might have even been Channel 9. I can't remember which one I was working for at the time. And there was an incident down at the cop shop on Thurrangower Drive there in Kerwin, where a vigilante has decided to sort of engage with some of these stolen cars, and they've driven, having these kids chasing them to the cop shop, thinking, oh, cool, the police will be here. No coppers to be seen. No. And we interviewed some of the neighbours, and I don't think it really came through very well on the news, but, you know, like from where we could see this woman had, you know, big fucking 6.5 foot, bloody 8 foot fence or whatever. You know, you could bet she's up on the balcony watching over as, you know, these people are pulled up onto the cop shop hoping to get help, finding there's no one there. They themselves ended up bailed up in their car while these kids are just smashing in the windshields and terrorizing people, you know. And the cops didn't even turn up to their own cop shop after several neighbors had reported it for an hour. Yeah,
they're under the pump. It's
a
shit going. Yeah.
Oh, when I was in that police ride along, there was like, I think 3 or 4. Yeah, I think it was only probably 4 cop cars on for all of Townsville that night.
Unreal,
and they determined where one of these bail kids were down at Willow's shopping centre there, and they could barely come up with enough cars to go, we know where he is, but we need everybody to block all the exits so that we can chase him down and basically, you know, capture them in the process, because you come in one way, they'll scatter another way, jump fences. Cars can't go over fences, amazingly. Yeah. So, they needed a few cars to get together to catch one kid, So all of Townsville's police force that was available at the time was invested in catching one bail jumper.
Mm-hmm. That'll get out the next day anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
well, they rounded up all these kids, and it wasn't, and they were all his mates, but the kid they were looking for wasn't with them. So it was a wasted adventure. Yep. I think they must have spent about 45 minutes to an hour planning out how they were going to do this and getting it all happening, and wasn't even the right kids.
Old mate's enjoying his best life.
So yeah, when I heard the cops look dumber and dumber, I thought, yep, I got a couple of stories to go with that.
Yeah, I think that's where it is. It's just the criminals are making the cops look dumber, and it's fucked because there's nothing they can do about it.
Yeah. The government's helping the criminals. That's the thing. It's government legislation that's allowed this to transpire, really, by disarming the coppers from being able to actually go for criminals. Yep. And I personally believe it's all by design. I think they want to raise the crime level to a point where everybody goes, we'll accept whatever measures you put forth, and that's when full totalitarian society kicks in. I don't think it needed to get to this point. I remember sitting down. We weren't sitting, we were standing at the time out back of the Mundingborough cop shop at one point after talking to some coppers, after a spree of crime and whatnot. And that particular copper was like, look, I've lived in Townsville all my life, and back in the day, we never used to have to lock our doors. Now, as a copper, he's like, I've got a safe bolted to my fucking bench in the kitchen to put my car keys in of a night time. I mean, he's seen so much shit that he himself doesn't feel safe in his own house.
No, it's shit, and you shouldn't have to live like that. Really, like that's fucked.
Yeah, it's pretty bad when the coppers are doing that. They themselves don't feel safe.
Yeah.
So we know we've got a huge frigging problem. Good old Liberal government, Chris Fully's come in and reckons he can sort it all out. What are your thoughts on that, man?
Oh, he's having a good crack, isn't he? Look where we're at. Fuck.
Achieved 2/5 of fuck all so far.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, well.
Do you reckon what he's bringing in will have any effect?
No. I don't really follow too much of what he's trying. What is he trying to bring in? I haven't really.
Adult crime.
Adult crime. Yeah.
So it doesn't matter, locking them up, and as you're saying, it's just like a fucking education facility for criminals more than anything, as opposed to being a correctional facility. So will that help? I
don't think so. That's more time to think about what you're going to do when you get out, I guess. I don't know. I don't think it's going to work. It hasn't yet. I don't even know if it's kicked in or when it's going to take effect or whatever. But
yeah, well, I think they're already sort of running it through. The UN's already stepped in, good old United Nations coming in, being very unhelpful as usual. I like the UN being unhelpful. But United Abominations was a great Megadeth album. I think it really pointed it, really summed up how useful the UN is when it comes to solving real problems. But I mean, with your experience in there and whatnot, if you had, say, the Premier's ear, what would you recommend as a way to sort of solve this problem?
Just like street university, I guess, a lot more organizations to help the youth. And I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know. Organizations that are there for the youth, I guess, before it gets to the crime part. Like, I don't know. Or maybe coming from juvenile detention to a youth facility, maybe they can facilitate with housing and stuff like that, and then get them on the right path, take them to school. Seeing more stuff like that, I guess, would probably help. But I don't know. Can't fuck them off out at bush and whatever. They're just going to want to rebel and come back, and you know what I mean? I don't know. More help,
well, that's it.
More understanding of what's going on. Like, I don't know. I really don't know.
So less crime and punishment, but more, okay, let's get to the root of the problem and treat each situation as a unique scenario, perhaps.
Yeah.
So the Kata Party have obviously, as you just kind of pointed onto there, you know, take them out bush sort of thing. You reckon that's a fucking useless ploy as well?
Sorry, what was that? I was just reading that.
The Kata Party's proposing that, you know, just take them out bush.
Mm.
You know, grab them and get them away from, you know, the city and all that, and straighten them out in some way, shape, or form. They haven't really been specific exactly how that's going to work, but you know, I guess getting them away from, you know, the same friends and family that are causing a problem could be one way. Another one that was actually suggested. When I was doing some work with One Nation, of all people, some Indigenous fellas came up to who's our now mayor at the time, and Senator Malcolm Roberts, and said, "Hey, look, we've put this proposal forth to, you know, for the Indigenous to grab their Indigenous kids who are causing trouble and take them out on country and teach them their culture again, get them out of the cities, get them away from the drugs, take the kids." Get them out there, teach them the bush and their cultural ways. But while they're doing that, sit down with the family and talk to mum and dad and go, what's going on here? Why aren't you looking after, you know, your kids? What's going on? And work on the whole family unit. The Labor government's gone, oh, that's a wonderful idea. And as typical politicians do, they've stripped the guts of the idea out. They wanted to do it over a process of 3 months, sort of thing, possibly more. And the Labor government's gone, oh, you can have 3 days. And they're like, what the fuck do you think I can achieve with a lifetime's worth of damage in 3 days? You know, and again, it's the Labor government pretending like they give a shit. But in actual fact, it looks more like they want the system to go down. I mean, to me, that seemed like a really good idea and a wonderful solution. And I don't think should be limited to just Indigenous kids. Honestly, I think it's probably a really good way to do it, is to go, all right, cool. So there's something broken at home. There's something broken with the kids. We need to look at both of these avenues and actually help, rather than just lock people up and pretend they don't exist. What are your thoughts on that, man?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think need to sit down. Like Youth Justice in Townsville here on Benford Lane, they helped a lot with me, but they take you to like boxing classes, they take you to work experience, they help you get, you know, I guess become something better than broken, you know, like a repeat offender or just a fuck up in life. I guess they try and help, but I think they need more of that. The helping and understanding exactly what you said, like find the root of the cause and go from there.
Yeah,
because locking them up doesn't seem to be working, you know what I mean? So that they get out and they're going to do it again, but what is actually going on for you to be wanting to go into that position of being away from your family, away from your everything, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the human race has been locking up other humans for crimes for thousands of years, and it hasn't really had a great effect on solving crime, it would seem.
No.
You know, here we are in the alleged year of 2025. You know, obviously we've been around a lot longer than 2025 years. You know, history's a lot longer than that, regardless of what some people might want to say. But you know, it's even older than, you know, your 4,000-year Bible constructs. I think that's easily provable. But anyway, without getting too theological on these concepts, you know, clearly what we're doing isn't fucking working.
No. I'm just going to duck to the toilet real quick. Sorry.
Yeah, you're all right, man. You're all right. You do your thing, man. All good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll probably end up wrapping this up pretty soon anyway. But quick reminder for those of you who've popped in. Sorry, wrong one. You know, check out old mate's work at Andrew's work. Sorry, at he's got an Instagram channel, Instagram.com lyrical_criminal_, and his YouTube channel. If you enjoyed the track Lyrical Townsville, which sits really well with this current crime wave we have here, www.youtube.com/@lyrical_criminal_TSV. So you can check out his work there. hopefully, you know, as we hear, we're going to have some more tracks coming up soon, so we'll keep an eye on that. And old mate's back. That's got to be the quickest piss in human history. I don't think I would have been that fast. So just poured out like a fucking racehorse, mate.
Been waiting for fucking 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's all good. I do this. I have to do that during the course of the podcast a couple of times every now and then as well, man. Like, there's only so much the bladder can take. No, awesome, man. Awesome. Well, it's been a great yarn, dude, and I hope we can get you back on at some stage. When
yeah, thanks. I haven't done a podcast before or anything like that, but yeah, appreciate it, and yeah, it's good. I haven't never done them before. That's why I was a bit nervous about it and whatnot, but all good.
That's all good. Man, it's the first time for everything. Happy to have popped your cherry here live on the North Queensland Freedom Network. You know, I hope it hasn't been too traumatic for you.
Nah, all good. I'll make a song about it if it does. If it's too dramatic.
Nice. I'll come and play some guitar for you, man.
Yeah, lovely.
All right, so we might wrap it up there because we're getting just past, you know, we're an hour and 20 minutes in, man. Is there anything you'd like to say or give a shout out to before we wind this up, brother?
No, well, just everyone on here, thanks for tuning in or whatever. Thanks for this opportunity. Shout out to everyone in Townsville, Street University, all the people trying to do and make a difference. It's, yeah, I don't know. We've got to do it and try, I guess, and keep trying. Otherwise, it's just going to repeat cycles, and it's just.
Well, we clearly can't. Yeah, we clearly can't leave it in the incapable hands of governments. You know, whether it's Liberal, Labor, or any other, they don't seem to get the fucking job done. I was at one crime seminar in my early days here in Townsville, and one of the Indigenous kids who'd been in and out of the system, you know, was asked, "So, what do you think of this particular crime seminar?" And he's gone, "Just white fellas talking."
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I thought, yep, that kind of sums up how we deal with a lot of things. We get a whole bunch of guys in suits and ties who have no fucking idea what the hell's going on, never experienced this, you know, desperately trying to figure things out in a couple of hours of a seminar. And then they are passing little pieces of paper around. Oh, what do you think? Is a brainstorming session for fucking primary school kids, you know? And it's like these people haven't escaped this paper prison that they put themselves in, you know. So you're not going to solve shit this way, you know. The people you're trying to address are looking at you right now going, what a fucking joke,
what a fuck up. Yeah
I'm sorry, I mean, it's one of those things I always point out. It's like, yep, that's school brain thinking. It doesn't work in the real world, you know. So yeah, it's obviously up to us, you know. I mean, music is definitely a great way to soothe the savage beast, and it has certainly fucking helped me stay out of jail, I guess, over the years, through anger and frustration with the bullshit that's in this fucking world. And it's obviously doing some good stuff, keeping you on the straight and narrow at this particular juncture in time. But yeah, we've got a long way to go to save the human race from itself.
Yeah.
And we certainly can't leave it up to suits and ties, because I think they cause more harm than they do good.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Well, thanks heaps for coming on, man. Stick around in the background there. We'll have a quick yarn. I'll just wind this up, and we'll go from there, man. Thanks heaps. Let us know when you're keen to come back on.
Definitely. Thanks, mate. Thanks, guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it, Lyrical Criminal. Be sure to check out his work on YouTube, is where most of his songs are. And, of course, you know, support him on Instagram. I think it might even be a Facebook or something kicking around as well. I think I've seen one earlier. Anyway, just a quick reminder of the livingfreefestival.org. Go to that one. A big collection of freedom-loving people. Great bunch of blokes. It's been a long time since I caught up with those guys, so I'm looking forward to getting down there. And don't forget to use the promo code BADDY to save yourself a few bucks on the Living Free Festival in 2 weeks, which will be transpiring starting on Friday, the 22nd of this month, running through the 23rd and to the 24th. Now, I just got to ask my boss if it's very kindly, because, you know, we're so free in this world. I've got to ask my boss if I could take time to go and do something that's really good for humanity. But we'll see what we can do. see if we can get some shit going on there. In the meantime, in the description, you'll obviously find links to the Gaia network. If you sign up, a couple of bucks come my way. It is something I use and quite enjoy having a look at myself. If you're into stock trading, the Stake app will give you $10 free on your first fund transfer within 24 hours as a sign up. And I think mine actually went over to like 36, and they still honored that, so that's fine. And the user code for that is MarkB228 to get that $10 free. And when you transfer some into the American stock market, I was about to say World Trade Center. That's not the right one. Anyway, you know what I mean. Wall Street. Thank you. Wall Street. And, they give you free stock as well. I got a free bit of Nike stock there. It was worth about $56 or $60 or something at the time. It's gone up to about 78 now, and that's in US. So, all in all, you get well over $100 worth of free stuff just for using that promo code. So go in and give that a go. And, especially after talking to Senator Rennick about franking credits and stuff, you find that some stocks are actually getting tax breaks, so you won't be taxed heavily for owning stocks in things such as banks. Not that I really want to support them, but hey, look, at the end of the day, you got to do what you can do to support yourself. But there are various other ones there that have 100% franking credits, so you get tax kickbacks as well. Plus, they pay out dividends. So while you're owning that stock, it's earning you money. And hopefully the stock's going up in price at the same time. So if you pick your things wisely, it can work for you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. And as it states at the beginning of this podcast, none of this is advice. I'm not an accountant, just an idea, for doing stuff to try and help yourself. Because personally, I'm sick of the fucking rat race. I'm sure most of you lot are as well. That's why you're here. That's that's how you found us. If you've got some awesome shit you want to share, NQ Freedom Network at protonmail.com, whether you're protesting because you're pissed off at the government, or whether you're an awesome musician with some great ideas that you want to get shared, and the mainstream ain't going to touch you because you're not Michael Jackson, drop us a line. We're here to help the little guy. We're not here to keep the suits and ties in business, because they're not doing anything to help us, are they? So thank you all very much for joining us for a Sunday sipping session. One final sip for the road. Sips. And I will see you next week for some more North Queensland freedom activity. Till then, do everything you can to be the best person you can be.